Have you drifted away from God? Have you been doing some things in your life that you're not quite really proud of? Are you just not quite as close to God as you really would like to be? Wow! That's a beauty. Good morning, guys and girls. June 21. Hosea 6:1. Come, let us go back to the Lord. Golly, that's simple and easy. Come, let us go back to the Lord. Here's what I wrote about that. During a practice day one time for a BASS tournament in New Orleans, Chris and I fished several hundred yards of cypress trees. It should have been a dynamite spot, but I only caught one fish. I only caught one fish in that. I mean, it was like a quarter of a mile of cypress trees. By the way, if you're not subscribed to the Catch the Day book, hit that subscribe button right now. Share it with about 8 or 10 of your friends. Ask them to subscribe. I guarantee you it will change their life. The one bass that I caught, I caught on a Cordell hotspot, and it was about a 3-pound fish. I didn't return into that area until the last 20 minutes of the tournament. Remember, BASS tournaments in those days were 3-day tournaments. I didn't return until the last 20 minutes of the final day. I had a limit. I was high in the money, but I needed one decent kicker fish. I didn't catch that exact fish, but I did catch one that was close to 3 pounds, and that helped me almost as much in the tournament. Moved me up a few places. I was concerned about even staying in the money, even though I'd probably caught about 30 or 40 keepers that day. You don't always find the bass that you go back for. But can I tell you, Jesus is always waiting when you return to Him? That's right. No matter how far you drifted, Jesus is still right there. Call on Him right now. He's waiting. You know, it's very easy for all of us to get consumed with the daily busy activities we have, with the worldly things that's going on around us, and kind of just move away from God little by little. And I'm not talking about just jumping out there and becoming a heathen overnight, although some do that. I'm talking about just kind of moving away from God a little bit at a time, until all of a sudden we are not thinking and acting like we were maybe 6 months or a year, 2 or 3 years ago. We're not using the same kind of language. We're not being quite as friendly. We're not smiling as much to people. Excuse me. We're not treating each other with the love that we should be treating them. We're sort of becoming a little bit unchristlike. And we're doing it in little bitty tiny increments, little bitty deals. You know, the battle we're fighting right now with Chris, we're looking for little tiny victories every single day. If we find a little victory, some little something she did better, we consider that a great day. We consider it a great day. Well, just like we're considering those victories, you can have little bitty tiny things that you're moving away from God. Pretty soon, somebody might look at you and look at your life, look at your language, look at what you're doing, your morals and everything, and say, is that guy a Christian? He might not even know. People should know that we belong to Christ. They should be able to see that in our smiling face every single day. You don't always find the bass you go back for, but Jesus is always waiting. Let's look at our tip this week, and this is a pretty good tip right here. As a matter of fact, I answered a comment a few days back, and this tip kind of fits right in there, and I did not give this answer. Here's our tip for today. Try moving to larger hooks with a Lure Saver split ring on your crankbaits. Try moving to a little bit larger hook. Particularly, you can move to a larger hook on the hook up in the front. Put a little bit larger hook up on the front of your crankbait. And we used to have a split ring called Lure Saver. I think you can still buy them. I'm not really sure, but they would come apart and let you release your hook. So if you got hung up, and larger hooks are going to get hung up probably more than smaller hooks. If you get hung up, you can pull real hard and the split ring will open up, you lose your hook, and you get your bait back. So that was a pretty good idea. Those things were dynamite. I don't know if I got any left or not, but they were really, really good, and they worked really well. But I got a comment the other day about someone that was talking about fish jumping and throwing the hook. Sometimes larger hooks will help on that. Depends on the fish. Sometimes a smallmouth, smaller hooks actually help on that. But and I talked about, just cranking the fish in real fast and boat flipping them so they won't have an opportunity to jump. I also talked about sticking your rod tip down the water when you see your line rising up. Stick your rod tip down the water. And the fish are jumping a lot right now. The bass are very, very active. If you're catching smallmouth, they'll rocket up out of that water by 2 or 3 foot. Largemouth are jumping. Sometimes they'll jump 3 or 4 times on a single catch as you're trying to land the fish. And when they jump, they can throw that head around, and they're very violent when they do that. That's really a throwing it, and it just throws that hook out. Remember, bass can't feel pain. So they're not feeling it when that hook's thrown out of them. They're just trying to get rid of it. They know it's in there. They know they're caught, and they're trying to get rid of that hook. So you might try those situations right there. Guys and girls, go out there and have you a great one today. Remember, you make the day doesn't make you. And remember, if you've drifted away from God just a little bit, call on Him. Tell Him, God, I'm coming back. I repent of my sins. I repent of the way that I've lived. I repent of the fact that I've got a little bit further away from you than I want to be. I know I'm further away from you than you want me to be. Put God first in your life. Honor Him in all that you do. God will bless the socks off of you. Guys and girls, go out there and have you a great one today. And remember, I sure do love you.